Hi, welcome to This Week in Ames. I'm Susan Guiasta. On today's show, we'll learn more about long-term transportation planning. My guest today is transportation planner Rudy Koester. Rudy, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Susan.
You haven't been with the City of Ames all that long, and you have a very interesting job title. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, Susan, I'm coming up on 3 years now that I'll be working with the city here in
flown
May.
for me.
It has gone by rather quickly since graduating college and then starting with the city here full time. So basically kind of what I deal with short-term and long-term transportation planning projects and other various activities that we may do. Short term, when I say that, the next 10 years, and long term, the next 11 to 25 years.
So short term is 10 years.
Yeah, that's the lingo for planning, I guess. That would be short term. So.
And your line of work has a lot of acronyms. One of my favorite is the AAMPO. Tell me a little bit about that.
That's right, Susan. AAMPO stands for the Ames Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. And that is basically I am the dedicated full-time employee for that agency. Even though it's kind of staffed with City of Ames employees, it's a separate entity itself. That includes the City of Ames, Story County, Boone County, and recently we're kind of working with getting Iowa State University as well as Gilbert involved in that now.
Now, Central Iowa is not the only place that have metropolitan planning organizations. It's statewide, or is it national?
It's national and statewide. There are 9 MPOs in the state of Iowa, so Ames is one of the 9.
And are we required to have an MPO?
Yes. Once urban area, as they would call it, reaches a population threshold, in Ames's case was 50,000 back in 2000 census, yes, it is required by state and federal law to create this agency.
Now, one of the things we were talking about recently is the fact that you have a meeting coming up, and your meetings are public. You'd like to get public input. Tell me a little bit about what the meeting is, when it is, and why you need public input.
Definitely, Susan. Yeah, we are always trying to get people involved with the transportation planning process. It's kind of difficult to get people excited about the next short-term 10 years of planning, or even the long-term. So our meeting is coming up on February 7th. It'd be just over a week away now. And basically it's to deal with 2 amendments for 2 transportation documents that we upkeep annually. And so there's 2 amendments that we have to do for those, and we would like some public input on those, and we're also required to do that as well. So we're just trying to get the public involved.
One thing I really like about your website, you have a website, kind of an offshoot of the City of Ames website, is that you have a lot of documents on there that people can review.
Definitely. We have all our transportation planning documents on that website, links for PDF downloads, as well as information for upcoming meetings, our next meetings on there, as well as our committee meetings as well, dates, minutes, agendas, and stuff for that. So
if I wanted more information, say about the amendments, I could get those off the website?
Definitely could. It'd be aampo.org, which also is it's linked also with the City of Ames webpage, like you said earlier.
So you can get it right off the City of Ames website. You just simply go to Our Government. It's one of the first links right off the top of that. So 2 different ways to get to the website.
That's right, Susan.
So tell me about some of the areas maybe in the City of Ames that people have suggested need attention or need to be looked at. Is that the kind of information that you would take and do something with?
Yeah, Susan, I would. We would take that information in, such for areas with high congestion, such as 13th and Grand, the Grand Avenue Extension, South Duff and South 16th Street, as well as other areas in Ames that are kind of noticeable with high congestion and stuff. We would take that under staff review and consideration, and try to get those projects into our planning document and try to put dollars for that down the road.
That's an interesting thing. You mentioned the South Grand Extension. That has been something I've seen as a dotted line for a long time. Is that considered short-term or long-term?
That is considered a short-term project, Susan. We're kind of trying to figure out funding for that project. So.
And that was the one that would take you beyond the Lincoln Center Hy-Vee all the way down to South 16th Street.
That's right, Susan.
So we don't have that many north-south arterials in Ames. That would certainly add to it.
No, we don't, and that would really help with the congestion and completing that connection north-south, like you said.
So how do you gather the data for the information when you look at transportation routes and ways to improve? Are you constantly looking at data, or does it come monthly?
Kind of the biggest tools that we use is our long-range transportation plan, and that involves a transportation model, which basically is a network. Think of nodes and links, nodes being intersections, links being roadway segments between those intersections, and basically trying to complete that network by completing new constructed links or improving capacity-wise on existing links. So yes, that's a tool that we use, and basically that forecasts future, based on current traffic data, it can forecast future traffic data.
Is it software, or are you actually going out and counting cars? I know that used to be something years ago. People would go out and count cars. Is that something we still do today?
Yeah, we still do take that traffic data. It is software, our model that we have of the Ames network, and then we use the traffic count data to verify that model, and it's kind of an algorithm process.
So when we talk about transportation, are we limited then to streets and roads, or do we talk about bike paths and shared use paths?
We talk about all those, Susan, all modes, not just car or bus, but also, like you said, bicycle, pedestrian, airport, freight, and as well as other modes.
So you're concerned, and then you look, I guess, we talk about in town, but also out of town, those exchanges, those ways that we get into and access Ames off the highways and interstates. Those are some hot button topics, those exchanges. Is there anything on the horizon to maybe improve those?
Yeah, like you said, not just the traffic in Ames we worry about, but also the traffic, how to get into Ames. One of those, hot buttons, as you say, would be the Interstate 35 Highway 30 project. That's in the horizon, I think, for the DOT to reconstruct here in the next 5 years, as well as Highway 30 between Ames and Nevada. Is also looking at some interchanges put in there, as well as some access management done.
Well, that'll make a real difference in that area, but also when those big plans come to fruition, it's a lot of, I would guess, drivers look at it as inconvenience. Do they take that into consideration when they plan those projects?
Yes, we try not to pile too many projects up on top of each other in the same area. We try to spread those out, and yes, that is taken into consideration for delays and stuff.
I've seen, as other communities around Ames have expanded, you see stages and phasing into, we're going to use the existing roadway for a while and phase you off into another one. I just find it fascinating that you must have the entire project planned out from start to finish before you ever turn a bit of dirt.
Yep, and that's what planning helps do, Susan. So we're able to do that, and like you said, phase it out and help with that congestion.
Well, then I'm glad you're here to help us.
I'm trying my best, Susan.
So again, we encourage people to go to the website and look at the documents. Certainly contact Rudy if you have questions.
Yep.
Thank you so much for stopping by today.
No problem, Susan.
Well, we have to remember as we get into the month of February, Iowa weather is very unpredictable. If you are parked on a snow route and we get 2 inches of snow or more, remember you are required to move your vehicle to avoid a ticket or towing. You can get more information on the snow ordinance and if the snow ordinance is in effect by watching Channel 12 or checking our city website. Also remember the Historic Preservation Awards are coming up. That deadline will come up soon. You'll want to nominate a person for a historic preservation work or a structure for a historic preservation award by checking our website at cityofames.org. Well, that's our show for today. Thanks for watching, and tune in next week for This Week in Ames.